Adi, welcome to Whistle Talks. It's such a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very happy to be here.
So, before we get into the topic that we're going to be speaking about today, which is how to achieve and maintain product market fit, could you give us a bit of background as to how you got into the industry of marketing, sales, and product market fit?
So it's a bit of a long journey. My career started as sales. I did kind of B2B and B2G sales, and then moved my way into marketing, which I really enjoyed. And for quite a while, I did both of these. Then started doing a bit of biz dev, and I think that the beginning of my journey in product management, which led to product market fit, was when I was head of innovation in a corporate. I was in charge of finding the new growth engine for the company, and so I had a small team of a couple of product managers and a developer, and our goal was to find a growth engine. We did a lot of market research, trying to find out trends, did a lot of customer discovery, and even built an MVP and did a pilot with a customer on one of the products. Eventually, we zeroed in on one specific product, which became a startup within that corporate. I was the CPO, later the CEO of that startup. And that was my duty my responsibility to find a product market fit and grow this product as a growth engine for the company. I was there for about 4 years. We got to 100,000 customers worldwide in the first year. We won awards, and it was a lot of fun for me and a lot of learning, like a big learning curve for sure. But I think that, well, a startup within a corporate atmosphere is not always the best case. And I think that maybe our audience are less like a startup and more like a corporate. I think that there's a lot of a culture of more mature companies that kind of inhibit that rapid growth that startups can achieve. And so for me, that was inhibiting. And I thought that I've done my best here and it's time for me to move on. Moving on, I started working with early stage startups, get on track to product market fit. Once you see enough startups from different domains, you see the common problems, like who are my customers, how can I convince them, how can I get them to use my product, how can my product satisfy their needs, and how I can make money out of it. All this is product market fit related, and so I really kind of fell in love with the problem of product market fit, and have been working on it ever since with all sorts of startups.
Wow, that's a fascinating journey so far. And I love that you've worked with mature companies in terms of product market fit, as well as early stage companies, because our audience is kind of both. What is your definition of product market fit?
So it's not my definition. I think it was Mark Anderson from Anderson and Horowitz. He said that being in a good market and being able to satisfy that market with a product. But this definition, it's very simplistic, so it misses a lot of things, and that's the price of being simplistic. You miss all the complexities. So there are a lot of more complexities. For example, in a good market, what is a good market? So there's a clear definition of what is a good market, definitely for a startup or a company that wants to achieve massive growth. But also, what is a product that can satisfy what satisfaction means? So these are additional things that we can go into that need explaining.
Speaking about product market fit for early stage companies as opposed to mature companies, what are the different types of worries or concerns for a mature company versus a startup?
I think that there are advantages and disadvantages in both sides. For example, when you're a startup, you don't have anything to fall back on. So you only look forward and you're only moving forward, and that's the only thing that you can do. So it means that you're searching for new markets and you're searching for new opportunities, and you're constantly building from scratch. Hopefully you're building things from scratch that are small enough so if they don't work, you can scrap them. But when you're a big company, you have a lot of commitments, you have credibility, you have your brand, you have a lot of risk. So you're not always kind of rushing forward, and that can be a good thing. But when searching for product market fit, you need to iterate fast, to kind of run experiments on assumptions and try out things and break things, and things that a startup can do, companies like IBM can't do. So this is one difference. The second thing is that the startup doesn't have any anchors. They don't have a market that they're working with. They don't have client base that they've been working with, and maybe they intimately know their problems and can think of a solution that they can do to fit that market, satisfy that market, like Mark Anderson said. So that's an advantage for more mature companies. They have a very vast knowledge of the market. They have very good reach into the market. They can make a phone call to a customer and interview them about what's troubling them now and what are the opportunities that might monetize now.
Saying that no matter what stage the company is in, product market fit is always something that they need to think about. It's always relevant.
It's always relevant for a couple of reasons. First, when you're a startup, you don't have product market fit, and Mark Andreessen also said it's the only thing that matters. So you definitely need to be focused on that. But even if you're a mature company, the product technology changes, so your product can change, and we've seen this with OpenAI and capabilities and LLMs. But also the market constantly changes. So if you think that how I reached product market fit, I can now go to a vacation for the next year or so, then no, the market will change, technology will change, startups will come. So you need to stay focused on what's your product market fit and constantly tune it, fine tune it. We've seen companies like Netflix, for example, that they pivoted throughout the years from leaking stamps. They leaked stamps. We went on to become the biggest and the most advanced streaming technology company. And now they're also producing content. So they're constantly shifting to stay in that zone of product market fit.
To stay relevant, yeah. And who in a company should be in charge of product market fit, and what sort of things do they do to establish it?
So in terms of responsibility, it's the CEO's responsibility, because this is the core of the business. If you have product market fit, customers are coming to you, they're consuming your product, they don't want to let it go, they need it. And so this is the best from a business perspective, this is the best case to be at. So it's the responsibility of the CEO to make sure that we're on top of it. But from a day-to-day interaction, if it's a startup, it's usually the CEO, the founders, and the product manager. And if it's a more mature company, so it depends. There might be product managers across multiple verticals, so they should be the ones in charge. Maybe there's a business unit manager, they should be the one in charge. So, but the hands-on work of finding product market fit, which covers market research, customer discovery, market validation, product validation, this is usually for a team with a product manager, hopefully some engineering team, and some marketing team. So it can be a nice squad of those three hats that even a big company can have 3 people like that doing that guerrilla work maybe, and they can really turn things around for the company.
I love that you said squad. So it definitely is like a joint effort. And how can these concepts of working towards finding your product market fit, how do they help the companies achieve growth?
Try and think of a use case, but let's say that we have a product that it's a mature product, customers love it, they use it, and we make good money out of it, it's a good business. And now things might change. Maybe there's a competitor that says, hey, I'm using LLM to do the same thing. So instead of using the company's product that requires you to do 1, 2, 3, 4, we can do it just in a couple of clicks. And now maybe customers are starting to shift away from your product because there's a better alternative because technology has evolved. There were wagons with horses, then there were cars. They shifted, but the wagon business was very, very good up until the moment Henry Ford introduced his Model T. So you need to have an eye on that and be aware of the changes both in technology and both in how the market is acting, like the actions that your potential buyers, customers are doing. When there's a shift in that, you should be aware of it, understand the motivations behind that shift. Maybe there's a new regulation and now your product doesn't work anymore because it's not matching the regulation or things like this. So it's not just technology and the market, things that affect the market can also change. Maybe there's a downturn and financially you're the more expensive option and now they have to cut down somewhere. Keep track on all of that and constantly look for where's the best opportunity.
And what should we do if we fall back on our product market fit?
So first of all, we have to be aware of that happening. Sometimes it can happen very fast. We've seen Apple introduce their first iPhone, and in a matter of like, I don't know, maybe a year or so, Nokia was literally, not literally, but figuratively, it was dead and gone because nobody was buying regular phones anymore. We wanted smartphones with touch screens. And so things can happen fairly quick, and you need to be very aware of what's happening around you. So the first thing is to have, let's call it analytics, but it's not just your product, your own product analytics in terms of how they're using it, or they're using it less, more, things like that. Also the sentiment around your product. Maybe they start complaining, this is old, this is obsolete, this is not, it doesn't connect with anything, things like this. It's not modern, it's not slick, whatever the complaints. But also what the competitor landscape looks like. And a competitor is not someone that offers the same product, it's someone that addresses the same customer base with the same value proposition. So the CEO of Netflix was once asked, what's your competitor? Who's your main competitor? And he said, sleep, because that's the alternative of binging another episode or going to bed. And that's the competitor, that's the alternative. So you have to look at your alternatives, at the alternatives that your customers are looking at, and whoever is offering the same value proposition, even if it's in a completely different way. So you have to keep track on all of those. Once you understand there's a gap, then you should do the customer discovery process, understand why there is a gap.
Adi, is there anything else that you'd like to speak about in terms of product market fit?
So I think that once we break down product market fit into a methodology, it's way less intimidating and less vague. So I can break it down fairly quick. So when you're at product market fit, it means that you have a good answer, validated answer to 4 questions. The first question is, who is your ICP? Who's your ideal customer profile? So when you have that understanding, this is a specific persona with a specific pain or need and a specific desire. That desire is the second thing that you need to figure out, and that's the value proposition. So the first 2 things that you need to figure out is, who am I addressing, like the persona of the person that I'm, or the company, or the role within the company, and what value proposition. You can look at it as a point A and point B. I'm at point A, it's not good for me. I'm losing money, I'm losing customers, whatever. And B is where I want to be. And there's these 2 points, A and B. These are the first things that you need to figure out in the market. What's the big problem and where do they want to go to? And the bigger the gap, usually it's better for you because there's more potential. But you need to validate it. So you want to make sure that when you present that offer, like I can take you to point B, people in point A say, yes, I want that, I need that. And so once you validate that there is a need, people want your value proposition, then you build the product. The product is just the delivery mechanism for the value proposition. The value proposition is a promise for a better future. The product delivers that promise. And in a way, the product delivers value and the business model retains value. And so the last part after the product, this is the business model. So running through them quickly, within that market that I'm addressing, who's my ideal customer? What value proposition can I offer that they will say, yes, shut up and take my money? Then what product can do that in the most effective way? So I can deliver that value, less friction, the better. And what business model I can wrap around that product, so it's not only creating value for my customers, but also I can retain as a business that value. Usually it would be revenue, but data can also be an interesting model. Maybe not so much now than before, but Facebook made a big business out of that. We'll get your data, and there's a different business model. Facebook are actually 2 companies or 2 products into one. One is the social network, the other one is an ad platform. So combining those 4 variables in a way and solving them one after the other, because if you change your ICP, then your value proposition changes. If you change the value proposition, the product changes. But so you have to work your way up from those market-based assumptions to your product-based assumptions, the product and the business model. And that methodology gives you kind of a framework in which you can follow. And there are basically 3 tools that you use along that way to make progress. You make assumptions, you run experiments to see if your assumptions are correct or not, and then you make decisions, which is something that in bigger companies usually takes way longer to do, which is one of the reasons they fall behind on their product market fit, because decision takes so much time, and startups can take decisions much faster.
Adi, thank you so much for that. That was really, really insightful. I learned a lot. It was such a pleasure to have you on Whistle Talks, and hopefully we can get you back.
Pleasure, and thank you. Thank you for having me here.